free breakers or
just everything. Everything. You know, if you don't take the official story on everything, you're a conspiracy nut. People think the news is a representation of how life works every day. And it's just murders and hurricanes and tornadoes.
Pumping you full of fear.
Yeah, fear. Uncertainty and those things that generate fear, which is probably more important.
Ryan, where are you coming from? What did you study?
I was a criminal justice major, got my BS in criminal justice at Georgia State, graduated magna cum laude, done a 6-month internship with the Georgia Department of Corrections Central Division, which is the capstone of how the correctional system works here, as well as the decisions and the funding is made.
Okay.
I mean, I had a political science background, took a bunch of classes, but yeah, I'd say criminal justice is probably where it pretty much springboarded. So I was able to connect all the dots and see how, as far as the political system affects the Greek justice system, they all connected, and I can see how it affects society.
So I'm going to be, you know, kind of playing devil's advocate and just asking what, like, Joe, anybody might ask, you know, with, you know, moderate education, watches the news. So what are you talking about when you say it's really one party and we're led to believe that there's two different parties, like Republicans and Democrats?
Okay. I guess really where it starts as far as saying that there's one party comes from, for example, okay, Ronald Reagan starts the war on drugs, you know, is heavy leading the cavalry charge on that, Republican, and then, but really who expanded the war on drugs wasn't George Bush or Ronald Reagan, it was Bill Clinton, who's a Democrat. So what happens is, I mean, you go back and forth as well. You go back to Vietnam era, LBJ and Kennedy start the war, who are Democrats, and who escalates the war to Republican.
Yeah.
So you got all these people who kind of play back and forth, and you get someone like a Republican, you know, war on drugs. Republicans are all about it. Democrats are against it. So Bill Clinton comes into office, and the Democrats expect there to be, you know, not an escalation in the war on drugs. The Republicans get someone in office and they wanted Nixon to end the war in Vietnam. What actually happens is they pull him in, and then escalation happens. So there really is a one-party system. You know, one party votes for it, and then the other party comes in and cleans up for him later. George Bush, you know, has all these huge spending increases for the Department of Education and stuff like that, which are not what Republicans want. Republicans do not want the Department of Education historically. George W. comes in and puts in all the money in the Department of Education, no child left behind. So, like I said, it's a two-party system as far as who you vote for, but it's really only a one-party system as far as what the agenda goes. The agenda always goes to maybe a higher power. I don't know who it is. I don't think Republicans or Democrats are really in power, but they're definitely, you know, have one agenda between both parties.
Why is it that they're doing so well in the illusion in communicating the illusion of choice?
The illusion of choice.
Yeah, I mean, does it go beyond the media? I mean,
no, it's just people really aren't.
Just voting machines?
People are apathetic, and it's really boring to really decipher what's really going on. Also, it makes life pretty bleak if you know what's going on, if you're not really that smart about it. I mean, if you're a semi-intelligent person, you're going to go, well, you know what you're saying, it makes sense, but you know what, if I believe that, life isn't worth living for. They reject it because of the only reason that if they were to accept it, it means that life sucks. Those are semi-intelligent people, and then some people just don't get it at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's lots of semi-intelligent people. There's probably more semi-intelligent people than there are dumb people. It's just they happen to take the road of the path of least resistance because it's just easier.
If it is just one party, then who exactly is in charge?
It's probably not really any who is in charge, but a matter of groups that kind of get together. I mean, yeah, you could say they are in charge, but I mean, I don't think there's any really one person that's orchestrating the whole thing. But I mean, there could be. It's always possible. I mean, we know that how lobbies work in this country. Lobbies definitely control a lot of things, especially the way laws work, and not just laws, but how policies are passed, and not just policies, but how society kind of reacts to things. Something to the original question of who runs it. And there's a few people, like J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan's a huge guy here in America.
He's on the scale of guys like Rockefeller.
Yeah, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, even they're the American Rothschilds.
The Rothschilds. Yeah.
Right. And
it's funny about the Rothschilds because I asked two people who work for George Mason University. Both of them were in economics. They were either playing dumb or they really had no idea.
Yeah. Well, most people don't really have an idea, and if you're the biggest, I guess, catalyst for economic expansion in the world, I mean, most people aren't going to know about you because you're not really going to advertise it.
Good point.
Yeah, Rothschilds, boomed. They basically made global banking. I mean, IMF and
International
Monetary Fund, and they do some good, I guess. They help out starving countries and third world countries, and they develop there.
But how do they help them out?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly how they help them out.
Yeah.
They say they help them out, and I know that there's, they say that they give some money, but who do they give the money to, and who are they helping out? And they're probably only helping out people that really help out the Rothschilds. You're not going to give money to everybody. You're only going to give money to the people that help you. And you're going to say, well, I give money to these guys that help me. You're saying you're giving money to the country. But in all reality, you're not. You're developing certain ideas and certain businesses while negating some of the other ones, probably hurting some of the other ones.
These countries need that money for biological needs, and so they're going to agree to any interest rate that's put on the borrowed amount. And I've heard somebody say that the Rothschilds just charge these third world countries like ridiculous, like mob rate interest rates.